Hi, this is the Real Journey Podcast, and I'm your host, Matt Cole. In this episode, I sit down with John Cortese, the owner of CTS Fitness and Performance. I find John's journey quite inspiring because at a young age, he not only knew what he was passionate about, but John took the risk and action to pursue this passion. Opening a training gym at the age of 24, committing to a 5-year lease despite not having the funds for the security deposit yet. This is the true American dream journey, but like all great journeys, it comes with twists and turns, and I was impressed with John's ability to pivot along the way. Such as when the Napa earthquake left half his gym red tagged, to eventually having to leave on a moment's notice the day after his daughter was born. John has a true ability to be resourceful in the times it's needed most. And with that, we discuss what his future looks like in a post-COVID-19 shelter-in-place world, yet again forcing John to pivot his business. But as you can expect, he not only has a plan, he plans on implementing this proactively to keep his clients and staff safe while they improve their overall health and fitness in the gym. John, I thank you for sharing your story. And without further ado, please enjoy the Real Journey Podcast. John, welcome to the Real Journey Podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I saw you on Facebook talking about COVID and how it's affecting your business and everything. And so I wanted to dive into that real quick before we got into your story. So how are you as a gym owner surviving right now during this COVID?
It's definitely been interesting, to say the least. When all the news broke the weekend before the official, shelter in place was recommended, we were kind of like, this is serious. We had seen some stuff in the news that had been developing, and I try not to look at the news too much, but it's hard to ignore stuff like this.
For sure.
And so that weekend, I remember this. I was like, do we need to close? What do we do?
Okay.
And so then finally, I'd put out an announcement about hey, we're aware of the situation.
Yeah.
We wrote a formal kind of a letter for our social media and our email list and stuff of our members, and said, here's what we're doing to address the situation. We're cleaning the gym as always.
Yep.
Just so you guys are aware, here's what we do. We're just trying to be very transparent.
For sure.
We're cleaning the gym as always. Here's what we do at night when we close. Here's what we do between sessions. It's kind of always what we've done anyways, but we never really broadcasted it.
Okay.
So I wanted to just make it very transparent and let people know what we're doing. And then that morning of March the 16th,
yes,
we had we had 3 of our group sessions, and the attendance was diminished and almost in half, and because people were a little, they were all aware.
Everyone's going, okay, what's going on? Let's take a step back.
Yeah, and so we had our morning sessions as normal.
Okay.
But we decided to we closed that day. After our last group ended at 9:30 that day.
Yep.
In the morning, we were we have to close. Okay. We have to. We can't stay open and pretend like nothing's gonna happen or pretend like it's gonna go away.
Yes. So
we made the decision to close that day, and then sure enough, the next or that night or the next day, I think is when it was all businesses need to close.
Did you close because your own internally? I'm worried about the liability. I'm worried about the virus. What was your internal that made you close?
Both.
Okay.
I think I wanted to get ahead of it and just say, look, we're aware, and I don't want to put anyone at risk. We don't know what this is. Who knows?
You don't want to put your family at risk.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, I just figured, I remember I wrote up a sign for the door, typed it out, and it was we're going to close for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Keep you posted. Yep. Just hang in there. We'll probably get to reopen on, we figured it was March the 31st, I believe is when we figured we could open back up.
Yes.
And then it was the 31st rolled around, and it was there's no way we're going to be able to open back up. It's not happening. So then, it was 2 weeks, and now here we are, May 12th or whatever, 13th today is.
It just keeps getting prolonged.
Yeah.
And for me, as a business owner in real estate, same thing. I was buyers or sellers. I had sellers. I'm we're not putting your house on the market.
Right.
We're going to wait this thing out. And for me, it was, what I heard was, we need to slow the curve. Mm-hmm. We need to make sure our hospitals can handle what was about to come. Yeah. And then it seemed like that changed down the road to me. I'm okay, well, they're changing the narrative. And so it just keeps getting prolonged. And so, so I personally put a couple houses back on the market. And we're doing all the PPE and doing it the way by our guidelines, because we have guidelines probably just like you have guidelines.
Yeah.
And so are you seeing, are you getting any communication about opening up now or?
Not really.
Okay.
It's still very vague. It's frustrating for to be in the fitness, I guess you call it fitness industry or whatever,
Yes.
but it's frustrating because I've been trying really hard the last few weeks to differentiate and show people like gyms like ours are not like a traditional gym in the sense, right, of the word. Meaning, I think when people hear the word gym, they just think of a big old space with equipment everywhere and machines and hundreds of people floating in all day, every day.
Yes.
Sweat on the machines,
No one's cleaning it.
Right.
It's self-governed for people to clean it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've been working really hard is the last few weeks. And I don't know if it's making a difference or not yet, but we're trying, like we started like this petition on change.org.
Okay.
Where we started it. It was like, I forget what it's called, but it was like make training gyms as an essential business. So like we're considered, like I call it a training gym.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's by appointment only. It's a private gym. You can't just walk in and start working out.
For sure.
You have to schedule your sessions with a trainer.
Yep.
It's a personal training gym.
Yes.
So we do like group training, personal training, one-on-one. It's just those are the different programs that we run, and I think that's the difference. And I feel like everyone's being grouped together right now, and it's very vague and it's general because you get grouped with the big box gyms.
Yeah.
And then you have the small privately owned training gyms.
Yeah.
We're not backed by corporations and people with millions of cash reserves.
For sure.
And they can stay open for a year and not collect a payment.
Yep.
And it's not to talk anything negatively towards gyms like that, but that's the situation we're dealing with is like, yeah, they're gonna survive this, no problem. They'll come out of it and they're probably gonna, they've taken some revenue loss, but
For sure.
Some of these companies are publicly traded.
Yeah.
Like they've got investors and they're going to be okay. Whereas, gyms like ours, it's, like we're family owned, we're a startup. Like we don't have that. That's not, and most training gyms like ours aren't. They're not like, most of people like are like ours. And like a stat I heard the other day was like 30% of gyms are probably not going to make it out of this.
I saw Gold's Gym was like on the brink. Like there was a couple, and then small business ones too.
Yeah, I know. Like 24 Hour Fitness, I believe, has filed for bankruptcy.
Okay,
I believe, and then Gold's Gym, I know for sure has closed. I think it's been like 30 to 40 locations nationwide.
That's huge. I mean, that's the big guys. So if they're going, imagine. And so, how is your structure? Do you have actual employees?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you have on the payroll, paid by the hour, salaried employees. They're not commission based.
Nope, they're all everyone's an employee. They're all considered W-2 employees. And like we, our main goal when we first closed was number one. I wanted to make sure our members were like kept in communication and I should say clients, our clients, that they were kept safe and that we were, out in front of it. And like we're just gonna like make the best of the situation, let them know what's going on. And then number two priority was to make sure our coaches were like on the same page and that we're not gonna like my goal was I didn't want to have to lay anyone off.
For sure.
I didn't want to have to go that route. I didn't want to have to like cut hours or whatever. So we're making the best of the situation.
Yeah.
And so that was our goal. And I the day we closed, it was hard for me to do this, but I had to we had put out a letter of transparency to our members, and I was, it was like basically like a letter saying, if you can, please keep your membership active. Here's why. I still want to pay the coaches. Still want to pay our team. We still have overhead and all that kind of stuff. You guys are aware it's a business
for sure.
And you're probably aware that we have overhead like any other business does,
without a doubt.
And I would like to make it out of this in one piece, and we want to come back. So, naturally, like we've had some people have to go on hold and stuff, which I totally understand.
Yeah.
And like. I don't have any ill will towards anyone that has had to stop because it's like I understand you got to take care of yourself
because they may be in the same situation on something there.
So like we've had some people that have experienced layoffs and loss of hours, loss of income and stuff. So it's hitting everybody
for sure.
And so I'm understanding, I'm empathetic of the situation, and we're making the best of it and like understanding like this is temporary. The dip in revenue and like business isn't because of something we did.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's a hard thing to like understand that it's like not something that I did or It's not because we're bad at marketing or like
Yeah.
we're not delivering a bad product. It's just everybody's going through it.
Everybody's going through it, and it's nothing somebody can prepare for, but it's a great lesson for business owners. And so, let's dive into when you first opened it. How long have you had it open for?
We officially, I say the anniversary is October 1st
Okay.
of 2010.
Okay.
Is when we officially had our lease began in our first space. So like we formed the LLC like in July of that year.
Okay.
The state of California, but we actually got the keys and like the lease started us October 1st, 2010. So I just say October 1st. So almost 10 years.
10 years. Wow.
Yeah,
And so, so we were talking before this. So you're born and raised in Napa. What got you into gyms? Did you work at a gym before this?
I did. But I've always really been into like fitness.
Okay.
Like even from the furthest I can remember back is when I really started to get into like exercising and working out, and I was like in 6th grade.
Okay.
And I was reading this book. I think it was called like Encyclopedia for Kids.
Okay.
And there was a section in it that like Arnold Schwarzenegger wrote, and he was like, "Here's how you can like build a strong body even as a kid, and you can do it safely." And he like recommended like you lift books.
Oh.
So I just like stack up books and start doing curls and like curl and press it and stuff. So I would just do that in my room.
Here's John in class. Teacher's going, "What's going on?"
Exactly. So I started doing that. Just like it just was interesting to me. I don't know why, but I just was like intrigued by it. And then got to middle school and
what middle school did you
went to Redwood.
Redwood, okay.
Yeah, and that's when like I think I started to go through like the whole puberty time of our lives as a teenager, and that's when I started to all of a sudden like physically was like just miles ahead of other people. Like I was able to sprint like really fast, and I was able to I was like good at all the physical fitness tests, and I really liked I loved PE. Okay. I loved track. I played football and track.
Okay.
From the time I was in 7th grade all the way through college.
Okay.
But I loved it. I loved like competing. I was very competitive.
And so football, what Pop Warner, what'd you play?
I only played 1 year of Napa Saints.
Napa Saints,
in 8th grade. That was my first year of football.
Okay.
But I got into track in 7th grade.
Okay.
That's when I started running track, and then I started playing football and track in 8th grade, and then all the way through. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then I was just really into.
It's your passion.
Yeah, I love it. I loved. I just found joy in like competing and the fact that I was good at something. Like, because growing up before that, I tried every sport, like baseball, roller hockey, soccer. Like, I didn't like any of them. Okay. I was always like kind of mediocre at everything. Didn't really excel at anything. And then once I found something I was good at and like I loved to do. Yeah. And then once I got into like high school, was when I really started getting into like, okay, if I started lifting weights in 8th grade. Okay. The summer of 8th grade going into my freshman year of high school. Yeah. And then I saw like, wow, like it's really paying off. Like I love it. It's really cool. And I just found a knack of like helping like my teammates and stuff like that. Awesome. And they'd be like, hey, like, am I squatting right? Or like, I don't know why I was just the coach or like, Not an official coach.
Were you online at this time? Because what year did you graduate?
2004.
2004. Okay, so online wasn't that prevalent back then. Like
not really, but I remember like there was a lot of like message boards and forums. I would
that's
frequent.
what it was, huh? Yeah, message boards.
And I would I started just researching. Like I would like just type in how to get faster. Okay. And whatever popped up, I would read it. It was like an article or like a message board or. Gotcha. At the time, that's what we had access to. And then I started ordering, videos and books, and that's how it started. All this, it started kind of snowballing from there.
And then, did you go Napa or Vintage?
I went to Vintage.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What position football?
I played wide receiver, cornerback, and then I played all special teams. So I never came off the field.
That's really. Awesome. Yeah. That's awesome.
And then I was a sprinter in track. Okay. So I ran sprints and then both relays.
That's awesome. And so did you have a job at the gym? What was your first job?
My first job was in high school. I worked at Rayleigh's, the grocery store here.
No shit.
Yeah, I was a bagger. Okay. So I would work on the weekends. Okay. I was 16. Okay. First started working.
Were you fast as a bagger?
Yeah. Yeah, I was pretty good.
Okay. I worked in the grocery industry for 10 years.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. It was a great job.
It was great until it wasn't, right. For me. But I used to always race all the other baggers. Oh yeah, we'd always compete.
Yeah, we had the bag Olympics. Every summer. Yeah. But so I did that, and then I worked at Rayleigh's all through high school. Okay. And then when I went to Santa Rosa Junior College, is when I got my first gym job at Gold's Gym. Okay. Yeah, they don't have a Gold's there anymore. Okay. But that was my first job, and it was just a front desk person.
But you were in the gym. You were.
I just wanted to be in a gym
for the environment.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
And because I knew I didn't have the experience of training yet. I remember early on, like they talked to me about it, and I was like kind of scared. I'm like, I want to train, but I don't feel confident in my abilities yet. I wasn't prepared for it at the time.
And so did you know what you wanted to do at this time? So you're in college. Did you know you wanted to own a gym?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
I had my mind made up from probably like around 18.
Okay.
That I wanted to do what I'm doing now.
That's so cool.
I didn't really know how I was going to do it. I just knew I wanted to, at the time I wanted to just train athletes.
Okay.
That's it. I just wanted to like be the trainer, be the only guy, have like a space like we have now.
Okay. Just very niche.
Yeah, like train football players, train like
locally or like at a higher level.
I knew I wanted to come back to Napa, and I knew I wanted to just work with athletes.
Okay.
So like middle school and high school kids.
Gotcha.
That was my goal at the time.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. It's evolved a little bit differently to now, but that's what kind of got me into this. And then I just kept reading, kept researching, and eventually, as I made my way through college, towards the end of my college, you could say career or journey, ended up at Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo.
Okay.
The last 2 years. I met my wife Ricky at Santa Rosa prior to that. Her and I both did track at Santa Rosa together. That's how I met her, playing football too there. So I was working at Gold's Gym, all this kind of stuff, and then we transferred to Cal Poly. She went there as well. And then I got my first internship as a trainer at a gym there.
Okay.
It's called Ondemand Fitness.
Okay.
Very similar to what we do. Group training, personal training.
Gotcha.
So I got my experience of actually training clients in a gym setting.
Gotcha.
Because like you can research and read about it. You can read all about like anatomy, physiology. You have that stuff, but once you actually get in there, it's completely different.
You have the personalities.
Yeah, because now you have to be able to like adjust and adapt and modify to the individual. And what you have written out on your piece of paper may not work that day.
Yeah.
So it's great to have experience. Like I always recommend that to like trainers that are up and coming is like get your experience, get an internship if you can, and don't think you know everything because you don't know everything. Okay. I don't know everything. None of us do, right?
You got to be smart enough to know you don't know enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I know enough to know I don't know enough.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so you went to Cal Poly.
Mm-hmm. Got my degree
I was gonna say,
it was kinesiology was the degree. My track, they called it, or like there was 3 tracks. There was physical education, physical therapy, and then like exercise science.
Okay.
I went exercise science.
Okay.
Most of the students at Cal Poly were there for physical therapy.
Okay.
I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be in like a clinical setting and just like help people kind of recover from injuries. I wanted to be the one that was like, we're trying to prevent injuries from happening. I was going to
say prevent them, yeah.
And we're more in like a proactive setting, I guess you could say, whereas PTs, physical therapy is more of like, okay, now we're reacting to what happened to you.
Yeah.
Which is great because we all we should be working together.
Yep.
Whether it's like we refer someone to a PT or vice versa.
Yes.
So like if it's like return to play, like, okay, this person just had ACL surgery, do your physical therapy, and then we would be like the next step to return to play is like now we need to get the athlete moving again and build confidence and that sort of thing.
And so how did you go about opening your first gym?
So I worked at that gym, Athlon, throughout college. And then I was working at Trader Joe's actually too.
Okay.
In San Luis Obispo. And then when I got the internship, I was doing that at the same time. So I was going to school full time, working at Trader Joe's, trying to balance the social life, do the athletics thing as well. I always go back to that and say like time management, I was built from that, I think.
And you're dating Ricky at the time?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah. And so doing all that, trying to have somewhat of a college social life too, which we did. It was fun. And then towards the end, like once I was getting ready to graduate, I was offered a position. Well, I was already like a part-time trainer.
Okay.
After my internship.
Yep.
I loved it so much. I was like, I got to work here.
Yeah.
So I approached my boss at the time, Ryan, and once I started to be able to get more hours, I was able to quit Trader Joe's.
Yep.
And then I was like, all right, I'm a trainer now. This is awesome. This is what I wanted to do. And then once I started doing it, that's when I really knew. I was like, I'm just getting my mind mentally prepared to do my own thing. And I was studying like some specific gym business courses and stuff, and nothing formal. It was just like something, stuff I found online.
Yeah.
From other trainers.
For sure.
So literally no business experience, just training. So it was like, and looking back, it was very risky.
They all
literally
are.
like deciding I was going to go out and be in business for myself at age 23, you know?
Well, being a little naive
It very much was.
is actually a good thing
Yeah.
when you're starting out.
And I just remember the feeling of like, I was so confident that it was going to work, even though I had no idea what I was doing.
For sure.
I was just like, I'll make it happen like some way. I don't know how. I don't know where it's going to be. I don't have the equipment. I don't have the money. I don't know like what I'm doing. All I know is that I'm confident in my ability to train people and get them to their goals. That's all I know. And I think I don't know. I was just very much focused. And so I declined the job offer and I said, I'm moving back to Napa. And
Okay.
we parted ways, you know, and it was a good, I'm very grateful for my time as the early ons of my training career.
For sure.
It was a great experience, great location. San Luis Obispo was awesome. Had great clients, worked with some great people, and then moved back to Napa in July or September or August of that year of 2010.
Okay.
And then moved back home. Ricky was already in Napa because she had a job here in the wine industry.
Did she live here? Was she from here too?
She's not from here. She's from Calusa.
Okay.
So I don't know if you're familiar with the area. It's about it's like on your way to Chico.
Yep.
So it's in that area. So she's from a small town.
And she just happened to get a job. Did she know that you were coming back? Were you guys planning on
We had the
coming back?
plan, yeah.
Okay.
So our plan was like, we're going to move back to Napa. Like she got a job at EJ Gallo.
Okay.
EJ Gallo. She was working at Louis Martini.
Okay.
And
were you guys living together in college?
we were not.
Okay.
We were not. We both had our own places. She had roommates. I had roommates.
Gotcha.
She moved back to my parents' house because she already had a job.
Okay.
And then I followed shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
And then when I moved back, I was like, I had been talking to somebody who I had known for a while, and he put me in touch with a commercial real estate, Mike Moffitt.
Yep.
Familiar with Mike?
Yep.
So he helped me find this spot.
Okay.
And then I told him what I was looking for. I was like, I needed something small. Like, I'm 24 years old. I don't really know what I'm doing, but here's the mission. Here's what I want to do. And they're like, wow. I think there's people's perception at the time was like, he's ambitious, but I don't know if it's gonna work. Like, good luck.
Well, it was a down economy then, so there was a lot of lease spaces available.
There was.
I bet you your lease then is a lot different than it is now.
Very much.
Yeah.
And I remember coming into this where we're at now, like there was a lot of vacancies. Like a lot of the spaces were open.
Ton, yeah.
And there wasn't a whole lot of light industrial like spaces in Napa to choose from.
Okay.
But there was a lot like based on the size we wanted.
Okay.
And it was either go here or you go to like retail, and I couldn't afford. There's no way I could have done like a retail spot.
No.
It would have been too expensive at the time. And I just from my mindset at the time, I was like, I'm gonna start small. I'm gonna do it like bare bones if possible.
Yep.
And my mindset at the time was like, let's do like do it yourself equipment, and which like I don't recommend now. Like if you're training clients or like find used stuff on like Craigslist or eBay. So I was doing that at the time. Was like acquiring.
So you started. Did you get the lease before you had any equipment? Before you had anything?
I had some stuff built up over time. Like,
and were you training anybody? Like, did you have a client base at all?
No.
So you just were like, I'm doing this. And
the one thing I did have, so I had like a barbell set with plates. I had a couple sandbags that I was like just literally looking on Craigslist and eBay months leading up to this.
Okay.
I would just like leave it in our garage.
Okay.
That's all I really had.
Okay.
And then the one thing that was very helpful to start out was like we had a few months of free rent to get going.
Okay.
So we signed a long-term lease.
Gotcha.
So we signed a 5-year lease to start out.
Gotcha.
So it was very helpful to be like have Mike negotiate the terms and stuff.
For sure.
And it gave us some cushion.
Yeah.
To like start looking for people to train. And luckily, like I am from here and I knew people, and we were able to get like a couple like 11-year-old kids to start.
Okay.
Because my nephew at the time was 11.
Okay.
So he had a bunch of baseball kids that were like that heard about this guy's coming. Caden's uncle's coming back to do like speed and agility stuff.
Okay.
They're like, oh, awesome. So it was cool to have that support from the start, and then that kind of like word started to pick up, and we got like a softball team in. And
so before you get, did you have to build it out? Did you have to paint it? Like what was that like?
Yeah, so we had to. There was already a bathroom in it. There was already an office in it, which was cool. But we had to paint it. So like we had just enough money to fund the security deposit and insurance.
I was watching your video and it said that you didn't even have the money when you signed the lease.
I didn't.
So you're like, yeah.
We were able to come up with it in like 3 days. I don't remember how, but I'm like, yeah, I'm not like, yeah, they're like, okay, you have like 3 days to come up with your deposit. And
Well, you were resourceful back then, right? Because
Very
you were
much.
starting. You're like, I don't know how I'm gonna sign. I don't know how I'm gonna get you this, but I'm gonna get you.
Yeah, it was very much like, you know, I didn't want to overthink decisions.
Yeah.
Like we were just gonna be like, okay, let's just sign it and we'll figure it out. Which do I recommend that now? Like, I mean, sometimes you gotta take some risks.
Yep.
If you're gonna do business for yourself or do something like really that's not of the norm.
Yeah.
And you know, sink or swim at that point.
It's always easy to look in hindsight, right?
Yeah.
When you're like, oh, would I do that now?
For
but
sure.
at the time, it's like no one could have told you any different.
No.
Someone could have said you should probably work for somebody a little bit longer. You'd be like,
that wasn't an option.
You're crazy. What are you talking about?
Even
I'm
at
in a
the
gym.
Even at the time too, like people were, you know, like family and stuff, and some friends were like, maybe you should work like in the mornings or like work like a part-time job to help. You know, looking back, I should have been doing that.
Okay.
But I was like so stubborn. I'm like, no, I'm going all in on this.
Yeah.
Like if I'm gonna do this, this has to be my focus.
Yeah.
I can't work like during the day. I got to do everything all in, and that's the way I did it. Which do I recommend that now? Probably not. I would probably recommend if someone was like doing what I did, like work, just get a job somewhere, Starbucks, like grocery, like somewhere, just to make some extra money on the side. Maybe.
Yeah, but if you're young, though, you know what I mean? If you're young, like you could take those falls at 24.
Well, that was
like,
the thing too.
You could be like, all right, well, this didn't work.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
yeah.
I'm like still 26.
We were
27.
living in an apartment with, it was me and now my wife, Ricky, and my brother. So there was 3 of us. We all moved out of my parents' house.
Okay.
Because he had just did his tour in the Navy. He did 4 years in the Navy, moved back, and then we all decided to get our own spot.
Yeah.
So, you know, expenses and overhead weren't as much at the time.
Gotcha.
And yeah, I was like, all right, we're doing this. Let's go.
And so did Ricky jump in with you, or does she still have a job, her job?
So she worked at the winery, which was obviously very helpful because she was making money. So she had an actual job and was making money, and it was helpful because it took a little pressure off of me. Yeah. To like, you know, like if it was just me living on my own, it would have been very stressful, and like I can't even pay my bills. So, but yeah, she left the wine industry shortly, like I think 2 years in. Okay. And it wasn't a passion anymore. She thought it was. Mm-hmm. And she just decided, like, it was a hard decision, you know, and I told her, like, if you want to do it, like, let's do it. Let's make it happen. And the gym was growing pretty fast at the time.
Okay. So 2 years in, she quit. And so
we had already moved to our new location.
Okay. So how did that first year look?
The first year,
because that's always the hardest.
The first like 6 months were a little slow going, but we were already making momentum. Okay. Like 3 months in, like I said, like we had no rent. So like October, November, December of 2010, no rent payments. So I had until January of 2011 to make my first rent payment at the first gym location. And then things started to pick up. Like we had like, 2 sessions a day, turned into 3 sessions a day, turned into like a team training. And then we started to do like one adult fitness group, a couple days a week with like my brother and some friends. Okay. They would train at night with me.
And were you, how did you structure your payments back then?
We were doing a mixture of like people would pay cash
as they do each class.
They would just pay like by the month. Okay. So we had like monthly rates.
Gotcha.
And then we did already have like a software in place, so where people could have a credit card online. Okay. And we would do automatic payments. Gotcha. Which that's what we do now. Yeah, much preferred. Sure. But the first year was interesting, and then we like a year in, it was like we were already making changes. Like we repainted, did some new colors. We were like, what is our brand colors? Like we like the color black, we like the color red, like white. So our gym we turned it in from like just plain white to red walls, and like it was very bold, very aggressive. Jeez. Like looking back now, like we don't do red anymore. Like we switched to like a little bit more like grays and whites and like neutral colors and stuff. But
no, your gym looks amazing.
Yeah,
now.
Thank you.
It looks amazing.
Yeah,
I was very impressed.
Very much different from when we first started.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we, like a spot came up and within the same location. Okay. So we went from number 21 to number 8 and number 9. Okay. And it was double the size.
Is that where you're at now?
No, that was at the opposite end of the building that we're in now. Okay. And that was, so we went from 1,100 square feet to about 2,400. Okay. And I had been talking to Mike, like, we're kind of outgrowing the space.
Gotcha.
and he was like, hey, there's two units that are opening up.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what your rent would look like. Here's like, we need to sign a new lease though.
Yep.
So we signed the old lease was basically like, we stopped it.
Gotcha.
And we started a new 5-year lease.
Okay.
In number 8, number 9.
Gotcha.
And we were able to like, paint it, and we had like, I think a month to get it ready. So we were still training in the old spot while we we're getting the new spot ready.
Gotcha.
And then once we were able to move out, transition, hit the ground running.
Gotcha.
And we switched that place up so many times. Like we like repainted it, moved stuff around so often.
Well, that's fun though, right?
It is.
It's fun,
I enjoyed
like
it.
growing your business
Yeah, it
and
was
like
cool.
doing
It was
that
cool.
stuff, especially when you're doing it. Was Ricky helping you like when she's not working at this time?
Yeah. So then once she left the winery, she was able to basically come in, and we didn't really have it was so new in business. I was like,
Yeah.
what should we have you do? And like, what do you like to do? And so I was like, what is your passion? And so like she started to really get into like nutrition and like that sort of thing.
Okay.
And so we tried to come up with like some form of like nutrition program for our clients.
Yeah.
And then she got really into it and started to, get certifications and really dive deep into that, and that area of fitness.
That's awesome.
Because I can talk about like nutrition and supplementation as well, but it's not really something that I'm as passionate about.
Gotcha.
But I can do it. I love it.
Yeah.
But my goal was to like have someone on our staff, like each person has their own unique expertise.
Yes.
And so that was like her focus for a while. And then so we were in that space for about 2.5 years.
Okay.
And then we were like, again, running into the same problems.
And so how did you grow? Like, was it word of mouth or like how did you grow the business?
So what really pushed us to the next level was we finally became open-minded to training like adult clients.
Okay.
Because at the time, we were still training just student athletes. So like literally nothing was going on in the mornings.
Okay.
So we're like, we got to fill the mornings somehow.
Gotcha.
Like I started to become less stubborn. Again, not the greatest business decision early on, but I realized I'm like, we got to maximize our time.
Yes.
So like, what can we add in between the hours of like 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. Because typically like most gyms, after like 10, it's like a dead hour. It's like dead hours between like 10 and 2. Okay. Not like kids are in school.
People are working.
It's like midday. Yeah. It's like a weird, awkward time. Okay. For most people. So,
and was this how far in was this when you became open-minded? It was like 4 years in, or like was this sooner?
This was like 3 years in. Okay. And so like we had like some parents of the student athletes were like, "Do you guys ever thought about training like parents, like moms and dads?" Yeah. And I was like, if we have enough people, like if we have say 8 to 10 people that were interested, we'll open something up. Okay. We'll consider it. Gotcha. And so we had our first adult group was Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 5:30 a.m. Okay. And it was like Ricky and my brother Jeremy, and then like 8, like my brother's wife, my older brother's wife Chris, and then like some of her coworkers. Okay. That's how they like people found out about it, and then just like some parents of athletes. That was it. Gotcha. Didn't do any marketing at the time. No like paid advertising on Facebook. None of that stuff. Gotcha. And so it grew from there. It was like it became super popular, and then we had to add a 6:30 time. Okay. And we added like a 9 a.m. time. Yep. And then we added an evening time, and so it kind of slowly kind of trickled out over time. Awesome. And then we started doing like, short-term like challenges, like 30-day challenge, like 30-day this.
How did that grow your business?
That's what took it off, really.
I was going to say that's probably because people are just competitive, you know what I mean?
Very much. And none of this, by the way, would have happened if I wasn't involved in like some sort of mentorship or coaching program. Okay, good. So I'm always been a big believer in looking into like if someone else has done this before me, like why reinvent the wheel? Yeah, exactly.
Like they've already paved the way.
I'm gonna waste time and money trying to figure out on my own when I could just hire someone else, be a part of like a group of other, gym owners or whatever. So I joined a mentorship group based out of New Jersey, and that's how that really helped our business take off. Was like good to know. Having a business coach, and having people I could ask questions with and bounce ideas off of and listen to their stories.
And would they hold you accountable?
Yeah,
and give you
Yeah, so I would fly back to New Jersey like once every like 3 to 6 months. Okay, because they would have our these mastermind meetings and stuff, and that's when I really started to see growth. Was take ideas and be able to be coachable.
Do you have a coach right now?
I still do.
Good
Yeah.
man.
I'm not in the same group I was when I first started.
Yeah.
But we are still in a coaching group.
Good.
It just got to the point mainly was like, flying to the East Coast once every quarter was just not realistic for me anymore.
Yeah.
And again, very grateful for my experience there. I was a part of that group for, 7 years.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But we're in another group now, and it's been great. Guy's based in Texas.
Gotcha.
He's around my age, and it's great because he has multiple gyms.
Okay.
Like ours.
Yep.
And we just get along great, and like we actually met in that group.
That's awesome.
So he's we met in the original group so he was a client of that group as well, and then now he's doing
coaching.
Consulting. He's doing consulting now. Yeah.
And do you do any personal development like outside of sports, like just mental training or
Yeah.
reading?
So I reading for me is I have a really hard time focusing.
Okay.
Maybe especially like right now, like I just always have so much on my mind. And then now we have 2 kids, my wife and I. We have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Okay.
So I'm sure because you have a daughter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it can be challenging. So like by the time they're in bed, it's like 8:30, 9 o'clock. I'm just like wiped.
For sure.
I'm like, do I want to just like relax and just like not do anything? Or do I want to read? So like I try to read as much as I can. I really like business related books.
Yeah.
Although I know like I should read like fiction too, and I know like I do feel good when I read like just something that's not related to business.
Yeah.
I really like to read like personal finance books and stuff. And,
Okay.
I was really into like the book Profit First.
Okay.
You ever read that book or not? It's
I
really
haven't.
good.
No.
It's really good.
I'll have to get it.
What else?
And do you like story form or more like analytical?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, like a lot of these books I like if they can just get straight to the point and just like I can just take things and apply it right away.
Okay.
So those are really books that I like to read. Is
Gotcha.
like, what can I implement? But also, I'm a big believer in this too. Is like, you can read all you want, but if you don't apply something,
action.
like what's the point of reading all these books if you don't do anything with it?
Yep.
Like that's what I'm a big believer in that. So I'd rather read like 1 or 2 books every quarter and just get a lot from it.
Get into that book.
Yeah, and then like actually
apply it.
Find things I can use versus just reading for the sake of reading.
Okay.
But I try my best. And then I'd like to listen to podcasts a lot. Those are very helpful for me.
What kind of podcasts do you listen to?
A mix. There's a podcast called I'm a big pro wrestling fan.
Okay.
So the wrestler Chris Jericho has a podcast called Talk is Jericho.
Yep.
Where he has like a wide variety of guests. Yeah. Not just wrestling related.
For sure.
But he has a band called Fozzy. So he's got guys from like Guns N' Roses on there.
Yeah.
Like there's like guys that talk about like ghost hunting on there. So like I just like to hear his like stories.
Yeah, it's so cool.
And then I listen to the Joe Rogan podcast a lot.
Okay.
Which is interesting to me. And then the Dave Ramsey podcast.
Yep.
About finance and stuff.
And it's just easy, especially just driving, throw one on.
Yeah. And almost every time I drive, I turn on a podcast.
For sure.
Or if I'm doing like stuff like work in the gym and the like admin stuff in the gym, I'll turn on a podcast. But I find if I'm focusing on something, I don't even hear what I'm listening to.
Yeah, for sure. You're just in the background.
What did I just listen to? I have no idea. But I try to listen to personal development stuff too.
Okay.
I listen to that a lot early on in growing the business.
When you're growing your business, huh?
Yeah, I needed to hear a lot of positivity and a lot of
for sure. Like you can do it. You can do it.
So like Tony Robbins and
for sure.
Like Gary Vaynerchuk, I was really into that early on and stuff. But
good. And so let's go back. So when did you open this one that you're in now? 5 years ago? You've been here?
So we signed that lease was it started in February of 2015.
Okay.
So it was another 5-year lease.
Just past 5 years, yeah.
And my wife had literally just given birth to our first daughter.
I was gonna say because you just said your daughter was 5.
So she was born in January of 2015.
Okay.
And I literally got the call when she was like a day old in the hospital from our landlord at the time. It was like, hey, so and so's moved out of the space. We need to get in your space and do the demo. Because they needed to get because the earthquake had just happened.
Oh yeah. Huh.
So because we had to wait, the earthquake happened in August of that year of 2014, and so both sides of our building kind of were moved like this.
No kidding.
So half of our space was yellow tagged.
Oh.
So because they had to short with some beams, because like the beams up, the structural beams on the roof were like literally like hanging down.
Shut up.
Like it could have collapsed. Okay. I guess. So we got yellow tagged. So our space went from 2,400 to 1,200 square feet.
Okay.
So we had to move our I know I'm kind of backtracking, but we had to
please
move
do,
our adult fitness groups to Wine Country CrossFit, let us use their gym.
That was cool of them.
Yeah, so for like 3 months, from like September to, well, longer than that, like 5 months.
Yeah.
So we would run our groups there, and then we would run our athlete groups and the other half of the space, because they were smaller groups.
Okay.
Like we couldn't fit 15, 20 people in our space.
Yeah.
But we could fit like 6 to 8 kids.
Gotcha.
That just needed like a single platform and could lift a barbell.
Gotcha.
Did
you have to still pay rent?
We were paying rent.
Even when it was yellow tagged?
Yeah. We were paying half rent at our space, and then we were paying rent to Wine Country CrossFit to use their space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Which was, I appreciate anything we could get.
For sure.
Like I didn't want to have to like not run half our business.
Like, hey, sorry everybody, let me just cancel, and then have to start all over.
Exactly. So I feel like it's just funny because I feel like every year we've had to deal with some sort of like adversity or some weird hiccup in the road.
Okay.
So I feel like we've been very almost used to like, well, we got to adapt again. So what are we doing now? So
your daughter's first day, she was
born, and so
they calls you.
They called and they're like, you got to get your stuff out. Like on the half that was yellow tagged.
Okay.
They shored it, everything was good, but they're like, you got to get. So our turf was glued down. We had equipment in there. So I called like 5 of my friends. I'm like, I need your help like right now. I'll meet you there in like 2 hours.
Okay.
So it was like 8 o'clock on like a Sunday night.
Okay.
And we're in there like ripping out turf, and like my wife's still in the hospital.
Oh man.
It was horrible. It was horrible.
Oh.
And like, so we're worried about getting my daughter home, getting the gym moved from number 8, number 9 to number 15, number 16.
Okay.
And now we're in there, and now we're like, we still have to demo a wall.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. And I'm like, I got equipment coming. We got to paint this spot. It was a nightmare and then like we basically had to shut our gym down for like a week just to get everything ready.
Okay.
And so then we were able to operate, but like we didn't have turf down yet. But we had the gym painted. We had half the rubber floors down that you saw.
Yeah.
Luckily, thankfully.
Were those at your other gyms too?
Yeah. So like, and then it was weird because the floor that we had at our other spot, it was not enough to cover the spot we're in.
Okay.
So we had to go to this place in Santa Rosa, the closest place that sold like rubber flooring, like they were horse stall mats.
Okay.
So I had to rent a U-Haul truck, drive up there with 2 of my friends, put like 100 stall mats in this U-Haul, and the U-Haul is like literally like the back end's like this because each of those mats weigh 100 pounds.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Because
so
they're
it's
thick.
like
They're a good inch or so thick.
They're like 3/4 inch thick, but they're heavy.
Okay.
And so literally that's like 5,000 pounds of stall mats in the back of a U-Haul, and it's like, I'm like, I hope I don't blow these tires out. So we had to lay the mats down, and then that weekend I had a trip to Oklahoma for University Nationals for weightlifting. One of our kids qualified for national championships in weightlifting.
Okay.
So I had a trip there, and I got a contractor in the gym, laying the floor down and like painting, getting the paint ready. It was a nightmare. But
daughter moving, leaving town.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
But that's the life of a business owner. Would you trade it for anything?
No,
nothing at all, huh?
Not at all. It's great stories.
Yeah.
I just feel like again, like we've been hit with so many weird like adverse situations. It's like we don't have a choice to like sit and think about it. You have to react and just do it.
I find that the more the adverse a story, the more joy I get out of it in the future telling it. Yeah. Like telling my past stories. It's the ones I'm proud of are the stories where I'm like, I went through this and then I came out of it.
Yep.
Versus like the successes.
Yep.
Would you agree?
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and it's helped, like I can look back and be like, yeah, I've learned from that, and I know what I wouldn't do now, and I would just it's like everything's in hindsight.
For sure.
But it also helps me make decisions now.
Okay. As
well. So I feel like I've really like kind of grown as a business owner, and not just as this is just a hobby.
Yeah.
And like I treat it like obviously it's an actual business.
How long did it take you to get that transition? Because that's a hard transition. Not hard. It's just like,
I feel like once I was able to hire like our first actual like employee. Okay. When I was able to like say, okay, you have to treat it like a business and not.
When was this?
We had our first 2 interns in our first location.
Okay.
So we started with interns, which basically was like, in exchange for you guys working part-time hours, you'll get access to the gym and stuff, and we couldn't afford to pay them at the time. But then once they went through the internship, and I didn't have a formal internship. It was literally just shadow me.
Gotcha.
I didn't know what I was doing.
For sure.
I didn't have like a curriculum or anything now like we have now. But you know, and then once I felt comfortable and like these guys are good fits, like all right, like I was able to like go to a wedding in Montana,
Okay.
and have the interns run the gym.
That's so
I'm
cool.
like, oh my God, this is awesome. Like I don't have to be here all the time.
Now you have a business.
And this is a business, and like although I love being here, I know I can't be the only person here all the time.
Nope.
And you learn that early on, especially as a trainer. Like there's a high incidence of burnout
Yes.
in our industry, and so I've you got to have that fine line between you know, making enough money to support yourself, but also not working 50, 60 hours a week.
For sure.
And you can do that early on as when you're young, but when you have a family and stuff, and you know,
what's your day look
hard.
like now? Like what time do you wake up? What is your routine now?
So now it's different compared to what it was
For sure.
with all this going on.
Well, now let's say before all of this,
Okay.
like your normal business,
Okay.
but like your routine.
Yeah. So we have 3 other trainers that work for us in our business. So it's my wife and myself, and then Matt, Brendan, and Kane.
Okay.
Kane's been with us the longest.
Mm-hmm.
Kane started as an athlete working. He was training. I was training Kane when he was a senior at Vintage.
Okay.
And then he started as an intern in the summer after
Graduating.
yeah. And then so he's been working for us since he was 19.
Okay.
Yeah. He's almost 26 now.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then Matt was a client as well
Okay.
of ours for a little over 2 years.
Okay.
And then Brennan, it was also a high school athlete of ours.
Nice.
He trained with us throughout high school. We went to Napa High, went on to play football at Santa Rosa.
Okay.
Came back, and then we were looking for some interns. And then so Matt and Brennan both applied at the same time.
Gotcha.
And then they started together. And then they were good fits. And
Okay.
so back to your original question, what does my day look like now?
For sure. Yeah.
You know, I would typically wake up at depends on the day, but usually like I don't coach most morning sessions anymore. Matt's usually the morning guy.
Okay.
So if we were still doing our regular day-to-day stuff and the COVID-19 thing wasn't going on,
Yeah.
get our daughters ready for school. They typically wake up at, well, my oldest, she typically would wake up around 6:30 or 7.
Okay.
We would try to get up before she did,
Yep.
you know, just to get some stuff done, or, you know, just try to get a head start,
Yep.
you know, get her ready to go. Usually we're rushing out the door, trying to get her there to school on time. And so my wife would typically, she'd be home doing some stuff, you know, with her niche group, which is the prenatal postnatal fitness group.
Okay.
And most of her stuff now is online.
Okay.
Beth, you know, and then she was, you know, she'd be doing like some content type stuff, and then I would typically take my daughter to school, and then most of the time my wife would also have one-on-one clients in the gym.
Okay.
So she'd be training clients one-on-one, and then I'd have to get my other daughter up, you know, get her out the door with my oldest.
Yep.
Get her to preschool by, she would start like around 8:30,
Okay.
and then even before that, we'd have to, you know, take her to daycare a couple days a week.
Yeah.
And then once we drop her off, go back home. It's like literally like my wife and I are like switching. It's like
It's a juggle.
she's with the kids, or I'm with them.
Yes.
And so like she would do most of the stuff. My wife's schedule typically is now morning based. And
Okay.
even before this, it was pretty much by like around noon, she's pretty much done for the day.
Yeah.
And then I would just be like, all right, tag in. And then most of my stuff would be done between the hours of like noon or 1 and then till around 5:30,
Okay.
6 p.m.
2 daughters, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, and then, you know, like, I would say probably 90% of my time is focused on retention and doing stuff as far as like, you know, making sure our clients are happy and their needs are met, and, you know, trying to like just basically like putting out fires day to day, trying to be a good leader, leading our team, making sure their needs are met as well. Trying to be innovative.
Are you training yourself right now? Like, are you training classes?
Yeah. So all of our stuff now is online.
But before COVID.
Oh,
Sorry,
yes.
Sorry.
So I was coaching probably. I have a handful. I had a couple one-on-one clients that I would work with in the afternoons, and then I had a couple clients in the morning as well, kind of spread out during the week.
Yeah.
And then I would jump in some group sessions as well, just because I feel like it's hard to balance as a as the gym owner.
Yeah.
Because I am the type of person, I don't want to remove myself completely from training.
Yeah.
But I know I also can't train all the sessions.
Correct.
It's just hard. It's like you have to draw the line somewhere. Like, are you an owner or are you a coach?
Yep.
You know, like I learned this metaphor early on from like football. It's like, are you the owner of the team? Are you the head coach? Or are you like the quarterback?
Yeah.
You can do anything.
Yeah.
You can do what you want to do. If you want to be the Tom Brady of your team,
Yeah.
or like you want to be the star trainer, then do it. That's great.
Yeah.
But I didn't really want that. I wanted to be more of like a coach, like a head coach / I could still jump in and play if I needed to.
Yeah. So your role is training your trainers.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
And overseeing them and making sure that we're all on the same page.
Yep.
We're all like, we're a team. Like, we're doing this for the good of the team. We're all running the same program. We're not doing our own programming. Like, we're all running the same style of programming. And
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at this point. I still do train clients and stuff.
Okay.
You know, but I feel like my time is best served if we want to grow this business, which I do.
Yeah.
I'm not in it just to be mediocre. I want to be
The best.
the best. Yeah, like I'm competitive, and just like with sports.
Did you just say you're not competitive?
No, I am competitive.
Okay, I was gonna say no. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm competitive, and I like to, you know, set standards for myself every year and set the bar high for as far as like, you know, business growth goals. And you know, it's like at the end of the day, like if we can help more people, then we'll reach our, you know, if we can help more people reach their goals, then they'll reach our goals as well.
If Zig Ziglar, you help enough people reach their goal, you'll always achieve your goal.
Exactly. So like that's our goal, is like we want to help our community. And the hard part has been like, how are we different? Because there's all types of gyms in Napa and or throughout the world, frankly, or the country, and everyone's doing group training. And now it's going to be completely different because of the situation.
And so how are you pivoting, and what do you see for yourself in the future?
So what we did literally the first day we closed is like we had a meeting in person. It was like, okay, we don't have time to think of what to do. So here's what we're going to do. What we did early on the first 2 weeks was like we would film workouts, we would post them for our members to do. That quickly turned into we need to do live coach workouts through Zoom, which I think everyone's doing now. Yeah. Like every gym I think now is like hosting some sort of interactive live led by a coach session via Zoom. Okay. You know, so that's what we're doing now. We offer like, I think between one-on-one and group sessions between all of our programs that we run, I think we have like 32 to 38 sessions a week. Okay. That we're offering now.
Online?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And how does that work? So like say I don't have a home gym or something. How does that online course work?
So all of our programming that we do run, we have two ways to go about it. We have like a dumbbell / equipment variation. Okay. And then we say, if you don't have equipment, like no problem, here's the body weight version.
Gotcha.
So the workout, like we have a Zoom link and a Zoom password.
Yep.
Our clients have it. We have a schedule. Mm-hmm. Say, if you're an adult, here are the times. If you're a student athlete, here are the times.
Gotcha.
The adult schedule we have much more times because that's our that's our most popular program. Yep. Don't have as many times for the athletes because it's a smaller program. Yep. And then we loaned out most of our equipment. Okay. So for our members, so it's like our clients, like we're like, come and get a couple items during that first week of closure. Yeah. We recommended a dumbbell and like a band or something. Okay. And so they can at least have something. Yes. In the meantime, because we're not using it, so they might as well have something. Gotcha. And then from there, it was like, we have a full schedule, and we typically don't recommend, every day, but some people like to work out every day. So we've structured it to where it's like Monday, Wednesday, Fridays are like the harder workouts. Okay. Tuesday, Thursdays are a little bit more like recovery based. Okay. Saturday is kind of a combination, and then we just started offering yoga on Sundays as well.
And so how do you run it through a video camera, like a wide angle lens?
Just our phone or our laptop. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Prefer the laptop because you can see everybody. Yeah. You can see it's like called gallery view. You can see everyone's screen at once. On your phone, you can only see 4 screens
so
at
tiny.
once.
Yeah.
So it's harder on the phone, but we've had some technology, like with anything, some technology, if you're too reliant on it, if you run into a glitch. Yeah. Like we've had this happen like 3 or 4 times where we're like middle of a Zoom session and the coach gets kicked off.
Shut up.
Yeah. We're like, oh my God. And like this one time, like I was at home with the girls, like literally giving them a bath. And one of our coaches like, I just got kicked off the workout. Can you log in real quick? I'm trying to log back in.
Oh.
I'm like, oh my gosh. So like my wife's on the workout. And so she goes from like doing the workout to like assisting.
Now she's
while our coach is getting back on. He got back online in like 2 minutes, but
Okay.
it's like, it just shows you like, yeah, technology is great, but it can be challenging if you run into a glitch. And then, you know, people are like, some people aren't into it. So
Yeah.
like we don't have as good of like attendance some days. And some people just don't like the live style workouts.
So I was gonna say, are you offering like a trainings that aren't live, like recorded trainings?
Yeah. So what we do have now, a couple things is we're I literally adding things by the week.
For sure, it's all so new.
So like we just figured out like Zoom has a feature where you can sync with Facebook or YouTube
to
make your workouts live.
Okay.
And then they get recorded. And then so like for example, we tried this the other week and it worked great. Where it literally will take your Zoom workout and it syncs to whatever like Facebook group or page you want. So we have like a members Facebook group.
Gotcha.
And it was literally streaming in our Facebook group.
Gotcha.
And then it gets stored in like an archived as a post.
Okay.
So then people can follow along later. And you can also record it and upload it later to YouTube or Facebook.
And on those recordings, can people see the other people that were in it?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yeah.
So it gives you that energy.
And it still gives you like the feel like you're being led by a coach.
Yeah.
But then like let's say they missed it or they had to work and they couldn't, like, because our schedule, we unfortunately can't offer sessions all day every day.
For sure.
It's just we don't have the attendance. So we have to do it by the demand.
Yes.
So like if someone's like, well, I can only work out at 7 p.m. Well, at least there's a recording.
Yeah.
And then like we do have like an ongoing page on our website where we've uploaded done for you at home workouts where they can just click a workout and just do it.
Okay.
You know, so it's almost like on demand workouts. You know.
And do you see it going more that way in the future? I know that you had to pivot right now.
Yeah.
But like going forward,
I do think it's going to be
a mix of both.
Something that we're going to have to offer continually.
Okay.
And if you would have asked me like 6 months ago, I would have said no.
No way.
No way. Because I do still feel like no matter what streaming digital service comes out, like I know Peloton's huge.
Yeah.
You know, and like all these mega big brands all have like on-demand Beachbody.
Yeah.
But people still need human interaction.
That's
so important.
Yes.
And some people, no matter like, you can ask anyone that works out at home, like it's so easy to talk yourself out of it.
So easy.
It's so easy. And like, it's just not the same. Even if like you have me literally coaching you through a screen and I could tell you like, Matt, it's still going to be the same. I'm just not with you.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's not the same.
No.
Like the in-person thing is just, that's not going to go away.
Yes.
But we also have to now be aware of the fact that for who knows how long, we got to keep our distance from people. It's going to be weird.
Your guidelines are going to be different. So you're going to have to work in a different,
yeah. It's going to be weird, but it's like, we don't have a choice.
Yeah.
So do we adapt and make the best of it? Or do we complain and be like, man, I wish it was like 3 months ago. It would have been so nice.
It would have been so nice.
Yeah. But it's like now the days of having 30 people in our gym at once, they probably no more.
Yeah.
For who knows how long.
Yeah.
You know, and that's because we would literally like some days have sessions that were like over our capacity that we could comfortably handle.
Gotcha.
And, you know, we started to get into reserving time slots because we were trying to be like, okay, in order to have a quality service,
yes,
we can't have more than like X amount of people. People would still show up.
Because you had the time slots. You're like, okay, this time.
So like we were trying to implement, like literally starting in like February, we were trying to implement, okay, like we've never done this, but we need to do it now because like our sessions are getting over capacity.
Yeah.
You guys need to go online and sign up, reserve your spot. And some people like, you know, resisted change and they would show up anyways. And like we were the type of like, we're not going to turn you away.
For sure. Yeah.
So like if we had like 26 people, even though we could like, we planned for like 20,
yeah,
we're going to take them and we'll figure it out.
Gotcha.
Now, impossible.
Gotcha.
Like we're literally going to have to be like, we have, I don't know, let's just say 6 spots.
Yeah.
You signed up for it, and it's like, if you didn't sign up for it, like, I'm sorry.
These are the new rules.
And it's not up to me.
Yeah.
It's up to whoever.
Exactly.
You know, the state of California or whatever the government says or whatever.
It's gonna be tricky navigating for everybody. Mm-hmm. Like everybody, like, you know, I selling houses. It's like to show houses now I have to wear gloves, I have to wear booties.
And you guys are doing like some virtual showings too, right? I've seen some people do that.
Virtual showings, you know,
which is pretty cool.
Yeah, you know, but that was all going on before.
Right.
To me, it's more like the PPE, like the procedures that had like we have to send a form to the owners, you know, basically taking the liability away, saying, hey, there's COVID-19. And then we got to go in with gloves, mask. And so it's a whole different. With us. Yeah.
I mean, right now, like I'm literally planning for when we get the green light to reopen, because there has been some gyms I've heard of that are opening prematurely.
Yeah. There's one in Southern California, right?
The guy in Oceanside got arrested.
Oceanside.
Yeah.
Did he get arrested?
Yeah, he got arrested.
Shut up.
Mm-hmm. He got let out that day.
But still.
But yeah, it's like I don't want to be put in that situation.
Yeah.
And I've gone back and forth, like, man, like, screw this. Let's just open. And then I'm like, no, we got to be responsible. Like, I can't.
You've been. I look at you as an example in a sense that you've been vocal, saying, I don't think that the way this is handled is correct.
I don't agree with a lot of it.
But I'm gonna follow the rules, and you know, but I don't agree with these rules.
And I don't agree with the way you know, some of the regulations are being
just blanketed on everybody.
Yeah, it's frustrating. It's really frustrating because we're not a big box gym. We're a small private training gym that we can comfortably limit the number of people. Like we can do one-on-one training. Like, why not?
Yeah.
Like I can totally do one-on-one training. No problem. Because we are doing like one-on-one training via computer still, but it's not the same.
It's not like the same.
I can train somebody no problem 6 to 8 feet away. They don't like no one's touching other equipment. Like I can clean it between sessions, like no problem. But yeah, like it's just gonna look different. The virtual training is still gonna have to be a thing. I think if gyms want to survive this, you're gonna have to have two options. You're gonna have to have a virtual training program, and you're gonna have to have an in-person. That's very limited by the number of people that come in. And will it be ideal? No, but I think if we're willing to adapt and change and make the best of it, I think you'll see gyms get out of this okay. Yeah. The ones that aren't willing to change and that aren't willing to like be patient but it's hard because like what do you do? Like some of these gyms aren't prepared for this, or these business owners or a lot of businesses were not prepared for this, and you see that it's like restaurants are closing down. And
now, did you get any relief from like your landlord or anything?
We got some extension on the rent as far as like when we had to pay it for that the month of April, which was helpful. Okay. But again, we've been very fortunate to have a good percentage of our clients remain active,
support you, because
it's been great. Because like literally, if every one of our members stopped, it would have been bad. It would have been bad. So very fortunate for our clients that's remained active. And again, I don't feel any ill will towards anyone that had to cancel or hold.
For sure.
It's the situation. I understand.
Yeah.
But still, we've been able to remain afloat.
That's awesome.
And we were, again, fortunate to get some of the PPP funds.
Okay, good.
We did qualify for that. As of Wednesday of last week, we finally got notice. Okay. Because we applied like the week they opened it up.
Yeah, it was taking a long time for a lot of people.
Like we went through that first round, and they literally said like the funds have been depleted. Yeah, they're basically like they're like, we don't have any more, and I was like, well, whatever. And then my mindset was like, all the big businesses ate it up. Like you saw like the LA Lakers got it. Like why do they need it? Or like these big chains, and then they returned it, and who knows if that was like a publicity thing or whatever. But I was good to see like a second round opened up, and then.
But you can't blame businesses for applying.
No,
even if
like
they are big.
Everyone applied for it.
Yeah.
Because it was like, why wouldn't you? It's a grant. If you use it for what you say it's you're going to use for.
Exactly.
And even if you don't, the interest is so low. Like, why not? Why not? It's like you're not going to find money ever at this interest rate ever. So like we applied because I was like any cushion we could have.
You're still trying to pay your employees.
Yeah, like we'll take it. And so we did, and it's been very, very. There was a lot of stress was relieved from that. Good. And that like we can have like somewhat of a cushion for a few months, and then hopefully like by July we can kind of resume normal business, at least I hope. But because again, like trying to find new members to like sign up for online training has been very hard. Okay. Like we have had a very hard time finding new business, but our focus again has been on taking care of our current people. Yeah. And like keeping them active and engaged, because that's been hard too.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them like are, you're seeing signs of depression and you're seeing signs of anxiety, and
For sure.
like no matter how many times we check in with them,
Yeah.
because that's been like one of my main priorities is like we split up our client lists between our coaches, and like we got to follow up with these guys once a week.
Yep.
We have to. Like I can't reach out to every person. It would take me hours.
Yes.
And I wouldn't be able to do it. So luckily we all have very close relationships with our clients, and I think they've gotten better because of this.
Yeah.
Like we've done more follow-ups than we ever have.
Well, it just brings you together. It brings you together as your own fitness community.
Yeah, like I'm like texting clients like from my personal phone number, which I never did, because I was just a big believer in like, keeping business at business.
For sure.
But now I'm like, I got to stay on top of this, and I got to make sure they're doing okay, and I got to check in, and whatever you guys need, like, I'm not just saying this. It's not cliche. Like I've driven equipment to people's houses.
Yeah.
Like I've, I feel like we've gone above and beyond.
You're going to do whatever it takes.
Yeah. And like, I feel like it's not something that, like it doesn't bother me. Like I'll do what we need to do.
Yep.
Like I don't just look at our clients like a transaction.
Yep.
Like there are people, like we're human beings, and like I care about their well-being. Excuse me, my voice is cracked. I care about their well-being, and at the end of the day, like we value their business, and without them, like we couldn't run a business.
Yep.
But their success and their well-being matters a lot to me, and that because we're in that type of business. Like we're in the business of health and fitness, and it's not just physical; it's also mental. And you see this whole pandemic has crushed people, like not just physical, like their spirit has been crushed
big time,
and like getting laid off, and like that's super depressing. And I went through that the first few weeks. It was like literally like I felt like someone died.
Yeah. Like
the waves of grief, and I'm like I was angry one day, happy one day, like I'm like super emotional and like super irritable with my kids, and like
have you ever heard of Wes Watson?
I believe so, yes.
So he's just came out of prison, and he's a fitness coach now online, but he's more like a mental coach, right? And so he was in prison for 10 years, and he was talking about coronavirus. And he goes, you're going to go through emotions which you would go through on a weekly basis in a day. So you're going to be feeling great, then you're going to be feeling horrible, and then you're going to have no motivation, then you're going to have a ton of motivation all in one day.
Yeah.
And I was like, I told my wife, because she came and she's like, man, I was like, I just listened to something. So that's just a cycle of being forced to do something that you're not.
It was hard. The first month, it was like we're gonna look back at this point in time, I feel, and I almost feel like we're gonna have some good feelings about it. Like, it was hard, but like we all look where we are now.
Yeah.
Like we got through that, we can get through anything.
For sure.
And like I look back to March, and it feels like it's happened so long ago.
Yeah.
And it's been like we're into week 8 now, I think. And like now it's like this is our new routine now.
Yeah.
Like this is what we're doing. And like our revenue's down and stuff, but like it's not because we did something wrong. It's just it is what it is. Like I'm accepting of it now, and we're making the best of it. And I feel like things are improving slowly. But back to what you originally asked about like what's fitness going to look like, or are we gonna have to keep the virtual thing going? Yeah, because we had put out a poll like a couple weeks ago. I just loosely put this on Facebook. I'm like, if gyms were to open in like June, let's just say, and I listed like 5 options. It was like, when would you feel comfortable coming back?
Okay.
And it said like A, right away, B, within 1 to 2 weeks, C, within 1 to 3 months, D, never, and then E was like only if a vaccine is present.
Gotcha.
And about 50% said A, like we're coming back right away.
Okay.
And then the other half, or a combination of like, I'm gonna feel this out. For like a couple weeks or a couple months.
Yeah.
No one said never.
Gotcha.
I never saw that answer. I had one answer that said vaccine, which I understand. Like some people are scared and stuff.
For sure.
And so that's gonna be interesting too, because when we do get to reopen, like, are people gonna stick to that, or are they gonna feel like, we're gonna see how it goes, and then we're gonna have like capacity issues, and then so we're gonna be like, we can't accommodate everyone in person, so we have the online thing still. And how does that look? It's a lot of things are gonna change.
A lot of things.
A lot of things are gonna change.
Are gonna change.
A lot of things are gonna change. So our model is gonna have to change completely.
For sure.
But we're, I feel like we're doing a good job of preparing with I lose sleep all the time over this. Like I stay up at night, like when my girls are in bed, and like that's when I feel like I get my best work done.
Okay.
It's like either at night when it's like no distractions, or really early in the morning.
Yep.
Like 4 a.m.
Yep.
I get up at 4 every now and then. I don't have to, but like Monday I woke up at 4, came into the gym, and just like I had 0 distractions.
Yeah.
And like I just turned on some like focus music, like those binaural beats or whatever, and just like let's just start writing out whatever's in my brain. We have a whiteboard in there. I'm just gonna start writing.
Okay.
What's the schedule gonna look like when we open up?
Yes.
Like I'm asking myself all these questions. Like, what if someone gets sick?
Yeah.
What if we run into capacity issues? Are we gonna offer one-on-one training? Like, how are we gonna schedule the virtual workouts? Are they gonna be on the same day? There's so many questions. So many questions.
Well, at least you're preparing for it, because once the guidelines come down, then you can go, okay, here's our guidelines.
Yeah.
We already mapped this out just in case this was the.
Yeah.
And so if somebody is watching this and they are going, you know what, I need to get in shape. You know, I'm liking what you're saying. How do they find you?
We have a couple ways. I prefer like one door of communication versus rather, but I can list, various things, but email is usually the best way to go about it. For general inquiries, it's info@ctsgym.com.
Okay.
Our website is ctsgym.com too.
Okay.
You can see our social media stuff. It's not been as active lately just because we don't have a whole lot of content coming out, but I need to do a better job of that because I manage the social media pages. But at Instagram is at CTS Gym. Facebook is CTS Fitness and Performance. That's our primary social media outlets. Yeah, I would just say, like, if people are scared or nervous, it's understandable, and I am very empathetic with anyone in this situation. And I would just say, like, don't rush into it. Like, do your research. We're doing as much as possible to, like, we clean. I thought we did a good job cleaning before.
Yeah.
It's going to be, like, spotless now.
Gotcha.
So, like, we're looking into, like, those foggers with disinfectant.
Oh,
like, part of our new procedures. Like, I'm literally working on a document that I want to provide for our clients like a week before we open. To say, like, all right, here's how it's going to look when you come in. Here's, like the door will be open. Like, you're going to put your stuff here. You're not going to touch anything else. You're going to have your own equipment. Like, I want to have all those things lined out in writing.
Gotcha.
We'll have new cleaning procedures. Like hands-free hand sanitizer, hands-free paper towels, hands-free, like, putting, like, do they touch the doorknob? It's like all the stuff you don't ever think about.
Yeah.
And now you do. And it's like, are we going to need temperature checks? Are we going to need masks? I don't know how that's going to look.
Yeah.
I have mixed feelings on, like, the temperature checks and the masks, but if that's what we are mandated to do, like,
could you work out in a mask? I wouldn't do it.
It's going to be hard.
Yeah.
Because I have seen some gyms that are already open in, like, Georgia and Texas and, like, Tennessee, and, like, they're starting to, like, Colorado. Some are. Yeah. Some aren't.
Yeah.
I think it would be hard.
I think it would
very
difficult.
Be challenging. Because, I mean, even me, like, wearing one now, like, if I go into, like, a grocery store or somewhere that requires it, it's hard to breathe even with that.
Yeah.
So it's going to look weird. It's going to look different. But I feel like there's going to be a lot of good that comes out of this.
Yeah.
The pendulum in the fitness world is, like, swinging now back towards one-on-one and smaller groups.
Yes.
Because for a while it was, like, swinging more towards big groups of people and like boot camp style training, and like CrossFits were, like, so popular with, tons of people in a class all lifting bars at the same time, and people with their shirts off and sweating and, like, putting their hands in chalk, and, like, that's gonna go.
Yeah.
Like, that's not gonna happen anymore. So it's gonna be interesting to see how businesses respond, not just gyms, but, like, just restaurants and all businesses. And who knows how long it's going to last. Like, I think a couple of things will come out of this, like, good hygiene will be in place.
For sure.
And, like, if people are sick, like, they can't come in at all.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, prior is, like, if someone's coughing, it's like,
are
you sick or do you just have allergies? Now it's like, I don't care if you have allergies or, like, no cough, no sneezing. I can't have it, So a lot of good will come out of it. I hope it'll...
As a business owner, do you worry about the liability?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I do. I've been talking to one of our clients is a lawyer.
Okay.
So I've been talking to him about this a little bit. We're working on adding some stuff to our waiver.
Okay.
As far as, like, our clients that they're all going to need to sign a new waiver when they come back.
Absolutely.
As far as like, you're aware of COVID-19 is a thing and blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. So we have to do that.
Yeah.
I've contacted our insurance and, made sure that we're all on the same page as far as like, if someone gets sick or whatever, like, how does this work? It's weird. It's a weird thing.
How can they even claim it's from?
Exactly. It's going to be weird.
It is. I hope it all blows over in the next 6 months.
I think I'm being optimistic about it. I think things are starting to lighten up. It's really hard to know what's real and what isn't because, it's like what you read online isn't always accurate. Yes. And it could be blown out of proportion. It could be not. So it's hard to have like critical thinking and think for yourself. But at the same time, you got to be aware. We have to be informed. But like it's really hard to get caught up or not get caught up in the, the downward spiral of being scared and because like you don't want to fall into that trap because again, you got to be aware, but also at the same time, we can't live in fear.
It took me, I'd say 2 weeks. So for the first month, I probably left the house 4 times.
Yeah, we were pretty scared there for a little bit.
At the beginning, it was like, what's going on? What's happening? And so when I finally left and I'd go to the grocery store, I'd do something, it was like, okay, I wouldn't breathe I didn't wear a mask. I never wore a mask unless I was forced to. But it was a mental battle more than anything. Yeah. Like being like, okay, I'm not afraid of this. No, I'm not afraid. And I had to tell myself like, I'm not afraid of this, but you get the energy from people who are, and it's like, okay, is this a big deal? And it took me about 2 weeks to be like, I don't even care anymore.
Right. It's been rather challenging. Just trying to figure out again, like, what does our new reality look like, and like just day-to-day stuff, but you see people now are more, just this is what we're used to. And like, it's not weird seeing people with masks now. Yeah. Like where it used to be like, this is so different. Like seeing people walk around with masks, but now it's everywhere. And now like, again, like I look to like, what's airline travel going to look like after this?
Yeah. That's going to,
cause like, for example, after like 9/11, for example, happened, all that stuff changed with like taking off your shoes and all that kind of stuff. And then now it's like, are we going to have to wear masks on planes? Are we going to have to go through temperature checks? Are we going to have to, like, they're going to have to probably sanitize the planes before and after every flight.
Are we allowed to bring carry-ons?
Yeah.
Because they don't want people touching the handles.
It's going to be so different. Yeah. I'm sure with every industry. And, but in ours, I'm a big believer in like immune system function is there's been countless number of studies proving that the better in shape you are, the better your chances are of fighting this. Yep. If you do get it, it's like, it's common sense. You would think, right? And it's like, if your blood pressure is not as high, like, just generally speaking, if your resting blood pressure is high and your resting heart rate's high, you're going to have health problems down the road at some point. Yeah. And it's been proven too. Like if you get sick, you're going to have a hard time bouncing back from it. And of course you are, right? Yeah. So you obviously can't prevent getting it probably. Like you can't bulletproof yourself. No. But you can definitely increase your odds of being as healthy as possible with proper exercise, good hygiene, good sleep. Yep. Minimizing like improper like stress management habits. Yeah. Like I know people right now, I'm sure like alcohol sales are up and people are drinking more and stuff. And you're tucked in the house. It's like people are bored, and that's the thing people aren't like, I feel like people aren't talking about as much. Is like, yeah, we're locked in our house, but people that are maybe have addiction problems or maybe that are like going stir crazy, they're going to look to like, well, I guess I'm going to drink at like 2 p.m. or something.
And a lot of people are doing that.
People that are unemployed and stuff, like, yeah, they're
why not
depressed and sad and down. And when's this going to end? And of course, this is like the reality of the situation is like unemployment's up and people's are, lives are completely flipped upside down. Family lives are probably struggling with, spouses at home all the time. And I'm sure, people are arguing more and relationships are being strained and kids aren't in school. It's just hard.
And exercise, I'd say, is a big cure for a lot of that stuff.
Oh my gosh, so much.
Because so much. We were, I started, and I'm not, obviously I'm not a person who works out every day, but when it first went down, I was going stir crazy. So I started doing burpees. Yeah. Probably the best thing I did. Yeah. And so I do burpees every single day.
Yeah. Even like I always tell people now, especially, you don't have to you don't have to kill yourself when you work out. Like you don't have to feel like you got run over by a truck when you work out.
No.
It's not ideal because we look at it like this, like this water bottle, right? Like this is your body. We can only handle a finite amount of stress before your cup spills over.
Yep.
Like if I fill this water up to the top, I'm getting close to like the edge, right? It's like the same thing. It's like we ourselves as humans only have a finite ability to recover from the stress you place upon it.
Yeah.
So like exercise is a form of stress. This is a stressful situation, what we're in now, and people don't maybe not realize it.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, like you're tired more during the day.
Yep.
You feel worse. Like you feel like you don't sleep well because people are waking up at night.
Yep.
And so like then now your ability to recover is going down.
Yeah.
So therefore your immune system is now down. I mean, I felt it myself when I'm like run down and I'm like overworked, overstressed.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to work out hard on top of that. You're going to get sick at some point.
Yes.
You will. Like the chance of you getting a cold goes tremendously up just from being like your immune system being overstressed and your body not recovering enough.
Gotcha.
So it has to be a fine line between let's work out, get your exercise, like move your body, but like understand like we're in a stressful time right now.
Everything in moderation.
Yeah.
Right?
And if you've already been used to it, like do your normal routine. Like you've already been adapted to the situation. Like your body can already handle that.
Yeah.
But like if it's new, don't try to go every day 100 miles an hour. Like slowly add stuff in.
Yeah.
Just like with anything, like you give yourself time to adapt.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you're able to consistently do it, like that would be my best recommendation. If someone's like looking for like a new routine,
Okay.
least amount of work to get a result and go from there. Like
Gotcha.
literally, we always say less is more.
Yes.
Like we always say that to our clients, like just because you get results from 3 days a week doesn't mean 5 is going to help you do more.
Yes.
It may actually be worse.
Gotcha.
Because now you're not giving yourself a chance to recover between workouts, for example. But
Gotcha.
someone that has been exercising for years has worked up to that.
Gotcha.
You know, so like I always tell people that are like brand new to our program, like I want to see you hit like 2 workouts a week.
Gotcha.
Maybe 3. And they're always like, that's it? I'm like, yeah.
Just start.
You don't have to work out every day to get results, I promise.
Yeah.
And then, you slowly work up your tolerance, just like with anything else.
Yep.
Again, less is more. Less is more. So especially like right now, it's like everyone's stressed out. Everyone's tired. Everyone's overwhelmed. Like, yeah, keep yourself busy and like move your body. But like sometimes going for a walk is enough.
It's just getting out and just moving.
Yeah.
Just moving. And like I said, when I did the burpees, I started with 10.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to just do 10.
Yeah.
And from not working out at all, 10 was great.
Yeah. And I always feel, even myself, I feel so much better after moving my body some way, some form, whether it's like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Something's better than nothing. We always say that too. Like, don't worry if you can't. The hour workout thing is like such a cliche.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to exercise for an hour. Like who made that rule up? I don't know. But like elevate your heart rate for like, if that's all you have, 10 minutes. Like do something. Or like what you did, do burpees for like 5 or 10 minutes. Like we don't need to overthink this process. Like just go out. We have plenty of good hiking in Napa.
Yeah.
Or wherever you go. I'm sure everywhere has good hiking trails, or just walk around your neighborhood for 20 minutes and just move something.
Just
better
move,
than nothing.
Just move something.
Yeah. So do something. Like right now, again, I do go back to, it is important to have some form of sanity, and exercise is a good way to like relieve some of that mental stress and feel like, you can go outside and you can still like see other humans and wave to your neighbor across the street. Like we don't have to seclude ourselves. I feel, in my opinion, like if you're in good health and you're responsible and you've not just been reckless, like, go outside and like get some exercise. But obviously if you're more at risk and, you're a little nervous, maybe don't go outside, obviously, like take care of yourself.
Yeah. You just gotta play, like you said, with the gyms. It's not every case isn't the same.
Right.
And every case shouldn't be treated the same.
Right. And not like, going back to that too, like when this does get lifted, people are still going to not be ready to come back.
For sure.
And that's okay. And that's why we'll still have the option of the virtual program. And some people will take advantage of that and keep with it. And some are, like we've had people that are like, I'm just not into it. Like, I'll be back though, They're like, I just don't like it. And I understand, I totally understand.
And so awesome. Well, let's leave it there. I really appreciate you joining me on the podcast.
Of course.
Brother.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm glad we were able to chat. It's cool.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.